This experiment that revives the dead brings a massive catastrophe. The film begins by introducing a group of researchers at a university led by a couple named Frank and Zoe, along with their team members Nico and Clay. They are currently developing a serum called Lazarus, a formula designed to bring back to life creatures that have been declared dead. This serum is expected to restore damaged nerves or organs without affecting cognitive abilities or causing long-term side effects. After working on it for nearly 4 years, the serum is finally ready for testing. However, the project feels incomplete without proper documentation of the experiment, so Zoe hires a college student named Eva to help record the process.
Hi, I'm Dr. Frank Walton. I am the head researcher at the Lazarus Project.
And I am Dr. Zoe McConnell.
That created the Lazarus serum. This goes into the temporal lobe of the brain. The goal here is simple, where you can safely bring someone back. No long-term effects, with no cognitive loss.
That night, while Zoe is working alone in the lab, she is surprised by Nico, who comes to bring her food. The two then share a conversation about their personal lives, where it is revealed that Frank and Zoe had once planned to get married. However, after Frank received a research grant from a pharmaceutical company called Warner Gross, which was willing to fund his work, he decided to postpone their wedding plans in order to focus on the project.
When we got the grant 3 years ago, we decided the wedding and everything else would just be put off.
The next day, they gathered to discuss the Lazarus serum formula, which is considered a failure since none of their test subjects have successfully been revived. However, thanks to Clay's intelligence, they finally discover a solution to the repeated failures in their previous experiments. After that, they proceed to test the serum once again. This time, the test subject is the body of a dog named Rocky, who died from cataracts. At first, the experiment shows no progress. However, Ava, who has been focusing on recording Rocky's body, notices that the dog's ear slightly moves. Initially, Zoe assumes it is just a muscle reflex. But suddenly, they are all shocked when the dog that was previously declared dead comes back to life.
It moved. I think it just moved.
It's probably just reflex muscle stimulation.
Even more surprising, the cataracts in both of its eyes are completely healed, proving that the Lazarus serum not only brings Rocky back from the dead, but also cures his illness. Frank then asks everyone to keep their findings a secret for now, while they monitor Rocky's condition. Afterward, they celebrate their success by drinking together.
Could it be the serum? His cataracts are gone.
We're 6 minutes in and he is golden. I don't want anybody talking about anything.
Later, Frank and Zoe take Rocky home. However, something feels off. When Zoe gives him food, Rocky does not eat at all. Even though he has not eaten or drunk anything since being brought back to life, he still refuses to touch his food. Frank assumes the dog is simply in shock after suddenly being revived and believes it may take a few days for Rocky to adjust to his new condition. That night, while Zoe is fast asleep, Rocky suddenly enters her room and continues staring at her with a strange expression. The next day, Rocky continues to show the same unusual behavior, refusing to eat, drink, or even bark like a normal dog. Frank suspects that this change is related to a substance called DMT, a compound also used in the creation of the Lazarus serum. According to him, when this substance is present in large amounts, it can alter consciousness, causing hallucinations or making someone feel like they are in another place. This could explain why Rocky seems confused and unable to distinguish between what is real and what is not. Zoe also believes that when someone dies, DMT helps the soul transition to another realm, which might explain why Rocky, after being revived, does not seem fully present in the real world. Shortly after, they conduct another examination and discover that the Lazarus serum is still present in Rocky's bloodstream, even though it should have disappeared within a few hours. Clay also notices unusual brain activity, suggesting that Rocky could become more aggressive and potentially dangerous. This discovery forces them to lock Rocky inside a cage, fearing that he might become uncontrollable. That night, while Clay is alone on duty in the laboratory, he hears strange noises coming from the kitchen. When he goes to check, he finds the kitchen in a mess. Suddenly, he is startled by Rocky, who somehow manages to escape from his cage and appears with an aggressive demeanor. Fortunately, the dog does not attack him.
Shit! Nico? Okay.
The next day, Clay reports the incident to his teammates and urges Zoe to get rid of the dog, but Zoe dismisses it and thinks he is overreacting. Meanwhile, when Eva is cleaning the room, she finds food from the upper cabinet scattered across the floor, something she believes would be impossible for a dog to do. As the days pass, they continue monitoring Rocky's condition. Over time, the serum inside his body begins to cause strange effects, including confusion and increasingly aggressive behavior. His brain also shows unusual activity, as if it is developing in ways they have never seen before, leaving the researchers confused and unable to understand what is really happening to him. The following morning, Frank is called in by the university dean to explain a suspected violation of his research grant. It turns out that the funding he received 4 years earlier was meant for studying new methods to treat nerve damage in coma patients, not for bringing the dead back to life. In addition to violating the agreement, Frank is also seen as ignoring moral boundaries, as his experiment is considered an attempt to play God by interfering with life and death. Although Frank tries to explain his intentions, he cannot deny the accusations when he is told that all activities in the lab have been monitored through surveillance cameras, including the research data they accessed from the server. This confirms that the university already knows everything he has been doing. Not long after, representatives from the pharmaceutical company Krylonis arrive at the laboratory and immediately confiscate all research data. This happens because Krylonis has just taken over Warner Gross, the company that originally funded Frank's research. Since Frank is considered to have violated the agreement, all of his research automatically becomes the property of the company.
Pursuant to the grant agreement signed by Dr. Frank Walton, intellectual property of Krylonis Pharmaceutical.
No, you can't do this.
There's always a consequence for breaking the rules.
In the end, Zoe and the others have no choice but to hand over the results of their 4 years of hard work. At first, Zoe accuses Eva of leaking the Lazarus project, since she is not part of the research team. But Frank quickly denies this, suggesting instead that Werner Gross may have deliberately sold the research to Krylonis in order to gain a large profit from the company's sale. According to Frank, the Lazarus serum is extremely valuable because it has the potential to change the future of medicine. That is why the company took advantage of the situation to seize the research for its own profit. Even though most of their data has been confiscated, there is still a chance to redo the experiment. They plan to carry out another test in secret at the laboratory, since the place is unlikely to be used anytime soon. Fortunately, Zoe still has a bag of the Lazarus serum, and they also still have the body of a dog stored in the laboratory freezer. Long story short, with Eva's help, who had previously taken a laboratory access card, she pretends to be working the night shift, so Frank and the others can enter through the back door. Since Eva is not part of the research team, her presence does not attract much attention from the security guards. After getting inside, they quickly divide the tasks. Frank and Zoe prepare the equipment, Clay retrieves the dog's body, and Nico hacks the CCTV system to monitor the guards' movements.
Working late?
Great. Can we just loop that?
Once everything is ready, Zoe is given the chance to start the machine. However, things go terribly wrong when she is electrocuted by a high-voltage current because she forgot to remove the ring on her finger. They try everything to save her, but nothing works, and in the end, Zoe is pronounced dead due to the incident.
Let's make some history.
Come on, Zoe. Clear! 360 joules! Do it!
After standing in silence and thinking it through, Frank makes a desperate decision to bring Zoe back to life using the Lazarus serum. At first, no one agrees with him, as they fear Zoe will end up like Rocky. But Frank does not care, because to him, this is the only chance to bring Zoe back to life. Unfortunately, just as Frank finishes the experiment on Zoe's body, Nico notices a security guard approaching the laboratory and immediately tells everyone to hide. Luckily, the guard only checks the surrounding area and does not find anything. Once the situation is clear, they are shocked to see Zoe suddenly come back to life. Confused, Zoe looks at Frank and asks if she has just been revived, and Frank confirms it. With limited time, Frank quickly asks Clay to examine her condition. The results show that the serum has completely healed her body, just like what happened to Rocky. However, Clay also detects unusual neural activity in her brain, and Nico observes that Zoe's brain is operating at full capacity 100%. Although there is a common belief that humans only use a small portion of their brains, in reality the entire brain is active, just not all at once. Despite that, Nico begins to question what could be causing Zoe's brain to function at full capacity, even while she is simply lying still.
She's just sitting in there. A small chunk of her brain should be lighting up. That's the weird part.
After the examination is finished, Zoe asks Frank to take her to the hospital, but he refuses, saying they will conduct further tests soon and that they already have everything they need in the lab. Not long after, Zoe begins experiencing strange things as she suddenly can hear Frank's thoughts and even move objects around her as if she has psychic abilities. At first, she thinks it is just a hallucination, but it turns out her abilities are real. When she focuses on the others, Zoe can hear what they are thinking. Eva feels guilty toward Zoe. Clay worries that Zoe will end up like Rocky, while Nico starts to suspect that the Zoe who returned is not truly herself and that they should never have brought her back, and Frank himself begins to feel that something is not right with her. Even so, Frank tells everyone to act normal around Zoe while continuing to observe her condition.
You've just been through a traumatic experience. There's something very wrong with her. We should have brought her back.
Killed someone. I killed someone.
No, it's a bad idea. The serum stays in the brain.
Hearing all their thoughts, Zoe feels hurt and believes that her friends do not accept her anymore. She goes to the bathroom and notices her hands turning black. When she looks into the mirror, she feels as if she is seeing someone else instead of herself. Suddenly, Rocky approaches her while growling, and feeling threatened, Zoe is forced to kill the dog. After that, Zoe tells Frank about the strange things she has been experiencing since coming back to life, that she can hear people's thoughts, move objects, and see her hands turning black, but strangely, when she tries to show him, her hands return to normal. Zoe also shares what she experienced while she was dead, saying she was trapped inside a burning building, which turns out to be a traumatic memory from her childhood. She claims she relived that moment over and over for years, even though in reality she was only dead for about an hour. From this, Zoe realizes that hell is not a place, but a condition where someone is forced to relive their most painful memories endlessly. She blames Frank for bringing her back along with something dangerous. Despite her explanation, Frank assumes she is just confused and hallucinating due to DMT, then he sedates her so she can rest. As Eva tucks Zoe in, she suddenly feels herself pulled into Zoe's childhood memory, where Zoe is trapped inside a burning building. There, Eva sees a younger version of Zoe, and suddenly, a black hand grabs her tightly. Eva snaps back to reality, only to find a mark on her hand, as if what she experienced was real. After hearing Eva's story, Frank explains that she may have entered Zoe's traumatic memory. This reminds Eva of what Zoe said earlier, that when someone dies, their soul moves to another place. Eva begins to suspect that Zoe's soul never made it out and is instead trapped within her own nightmare. She also realizes that the Lazarus serum not only brought Zoe back to life, but also gave her dangerous abilities that could threaten everyone. Even though he is starting to understand the situation, Frank still has no idea what to do. After that, Clay tells Ava that ever since he discovered the unusual brain activity in Zoe, he realized the serum has unlocked the full potential of the human brain. This potential could allow humans to do impossible things, such as developing psychic abilities and reading minds.
I'm telling you, it's the serum. Her brain is doing things the human brain was never designed to do. Unlocking the part of the brain that lets you do crazy.
At the same time, Nico detects someone hacking into the laboratory system, meaning that someone else is aware of their presence. Meanwhile, something begins to happen to Zoe as she transforms into a more terrifying and aggressive version of herself. Hearing her scream, Nico tries to calm her down, but Zoe instead kills him using her telekinetic powers.
Zoe?
Jesus, what are you doing here? Zoe, we can help you.
You have no idea what you've done.
After that, she shuts down the electricity in the lab, trapping everyone inside. Nico's disappearance makes Eva and Clay suspicious of Zoe, since she was the last person with him. However, before Clay can finish speaking, Zoe attacks using her telekinesis. She forces a pen into Clay's throat, causing him to choke and lose his breath until he dies.
I want to know what happened to Nico.
Jesus, can we all just relax?
Zoe, what did you do?
What happened to Nico? Now!
The situation quickly becomes more intense as Zoe uses her powers to attack Frank and Eva. Frank rushes to grab a sedative and increases the dosage in hopes of stopping her. He plans to distract Zoe while Eva secretly injects her. Unfortunately, Zoe, who can now read minds, easily discovers the plan and kills Frank.
Then why do you have that syringe?
I'm so sorry, sweetie. Okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. This is not the
After that, she injects the remaining Lazarus serum into her own brain to strengthen her abilities, and then begins hunting Eva, the only one left alive. Meanwhile, from her hiding place, Eva prepares a poison to kill Zoe. Unfortunately, she is discovered first, and Zoe immediately traps her inside a nightmare. There, Eva once again encounters the younger Zoe. When she sees a lighter in the child's hand, Eva realizes that the fire was actually caused by Zoe herself. Eva then asks her to open a door that she believes is the way out.
So, open the door.
As the young Zoe disappears, Eva snaps back to reality and quickly injects the poison into Zoe, seemingly killing her. Not long after, a firefighter arrives to rescue her, but when Eva hugs him, Zoe's body suddenly disappears. As she looks again, the firefighter transforms into Zoe. It turns out Zoe has created an illusion, making Eva believe she succeeded in killing her, when in reality, Eva has been trapped in Zoe's illusion all along, and in that very moment, Zoe kills her. After killing everyone, Zoe brings Frank's body back to the laboratory. Using the remaining Lazarus serum within her, she attempts to bring him back to life, just as Frank once did to her. This scene suggests that the terror is far from over. It is very likely that once Frank is revived, he will also change and become aggressive like Zoe due to the effects of the serum. The two of them have defied the natural order, and now they are set to unleash terror with abilities far beyond normal human limits, and the story comes to an end.